Hello and welcome back to my channel, AJ Budgets. I am AJ and I am so thankful and grateful that you are with me here for today's video. In this channel, we talk about all things budgeting, including savings and being intentional with our money without getting too complicated or overwhelmed. In today's video, we're going to be talking about money market accounts, what they are, how they work, and how I use them in my budget, and why I prefer them over a high yields savings. While I'm chatting about that, and I'll be putting up some screenshots or overlays to hopefully make that a little less complicated, I'm going to be switching out my nails to my Valentine's Day nails because I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to talk about financial things. So I've done a couple different videos. I did a CDs 101 and I did how to play the credit card points game. And I did those in a couple different POV style videos where I wrote down the things or I showed the things. So in this form, I'm going to do my nails while talking about that money market. So I'm also going to show you my binder and how I use my money market account to help me save money and grow my money. So if you've ever wondered, where should my ER fund live? Or is this the right savings account for me? Then you're in the right place. So let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to do is prep my nails. I've done a lot of nail prep. As you can see, I've taken off my red nails from January. They were press-on, and so I had to do a lot more prep over my sink because it had the sticky stuff on it. So I have those prepped. I do want to dehydrate out my nails with some fingernail polish remover really quickly. I dehydrate them a couple of times with alcohol and fingernail polish remover. So hopefully this will just get off any little last bits of that stuff. Okay, and then I'm going to explain how I do my nails and kind of show you all of the tools I use, and then we'll walk you through one of my nails. And then as I'm doing the rest of them, I'll be chatting about what money market accounts are. Really quickly, I'm going to go through the tools that I use. So here's my rubbing alcohol that I'll use right before I press them on. I'm going to do glue on this time. So I'm going to need my cuticle oil for when I'm done, my really fancy clipping tools, which are just some old school clothespins. And what I do is once I glue the nail, they need to be pressed for 2 minutes, and it is a lot of work to just sit and press and a lot of time. So I can do 3 nails at once, and then the clothespin does the pressing work for me. I might need my little nail file or my buffer. Definitely gonna need my nail glue, and I might need my little detail clippers. So this container is from the Dollar Tree. Very nice. Okay, I have all my tools. I'm gonna get my nails selected out, and then we'll get started. These nails are from Shein. I have never used Shein nails before, so I have no idea what to expect out of these. It looks like it did come with the press-on situation, but I definitely prefer glue-on. That's so messy, and it hurts my nail beds to have to file that off. So I'm going to get these selected out for each one of my nails, and then we'll start gluing them on. Okay, I have my nails selected out for my left hand and my right hand, and so I'm going to flip them over because I like to glue them. I like to put a dot on my nail bed and then also a dot on to the nail itself. And then what I do is I brush the nail glue across my nail, and then I press it, and then I'm going to paper clip it. So before we do that though, I do want to dehydrate out my nails one more time right before I glue these on with some rubbing alcohol. And the rubbing alcohol also helps the glue stick better. I find that it works better, or it lasts longer than the nail polish remover at this stage. So this is from Kiss Pink Nail Glue, and I just get them at Walmart. They come in a 2-pack. It has a nice little point on it too. So I'm going to do my thumb first. So like I said, I'm going to put a little dot of glue on my thumb. And then I put a little dot of glue on the nail itself. And then I'm going to pick up the nail, and then like I said, I'm going to rub that glue making sure it's all over my nail bed, and then clip it on. So while I do the rest of my nails, I want to talk to you about the difference between a high yield savings account and a money market account. So I'm going to put up a item on the screen to do a side-by-side comparison. So it's going to be high yield versus money market. So first, they're both savings accounts. However, the money market has check writing and or debit card capabilities depending on your bank. Second, they both get interest, and they both get higher interest than your checking account. The high yield savings gets less interest though than the money market. So the money market makes more interest. The cool thing about the money market too is it's tiered interest. So the more money you have in the account, the more interest you're going to get. Whereas in your high yield savings, it's just a flat rate. So it might be 0.25% or 0.61% in your high yield savings, but your money market can fluctuate with the like the current rate. So it could get up to like 5% or go down to like 2%. Both of them are FDIC insured. Both of them have limited access, about 6 times a month. They both have minimum balances. Your savings is going to have less of a minimum balance than your money market. It's typically like 100 for a high yield savings and minimum of 1,000 for a money market. Fees are applicable to both if you do go over that access amount or if you are under that minimum balance amount. So you just got to be careful with that. Okay, now we're going to do 2 different examples so you can see the difference in the interest that you'll earn. So let's say we have $5,000 in our savings account and we're in a regular high yield savings account yielding 0.61% interest. That's going to equal $30.50 a year. If you have a lower regular savings account at 0.39 is the average, that's $19.50 a year. In comparison to a money market, that same $5,000 is currently, like mine is currently at 4.2% interest rate, which equals $210 a year. So it's significantly more in interest that you're going to be getting in a money market in comparison to a savings account. Okay, and my nails are officially done. They look super cute. With the Kiss nails, I can typically get them to last 2.5 to 3 weeks. With these Shein nails, I am hoping I can get them to last 7 to 10 days. So we'll see how those do. But now that we kind of know the difference between a money market and a regular savings account, I want to talk to you about my high yield money market account that I have with Edward Jones. And this is where I keep a large portion of my money. On the daily or on most of my videos, you are going to see my regular money market account that I have with my local bank. It yields about 2.6% interest overall. And this is where I can access this money daily. So I have a debit card and checks, and it's connected to my checking account. And I keep like my annual bills in there, and then like my vacation funds and the some like shorter term emergency funds type of things, like my buffer, and then my pet emergency fund, my medical deductible, and a personal emergency fund. So I have access to this money fairly easily. I can get it out same day. The same cannot be said about Edward Jones. Edward Jones takes 2 to 3 business days to get it moved over into my checking account. And so that's why the bulk of my money sits over in Edward Jones. And that way it's kind of out of sight, out of mind for me. But we're going to jump into here and I'm going to show you how I utilize this. So this is my money market number 2, as my dashboard says. These are by Sav Saves. They're trackers, but I also use them as dashboards. And so I'm just going to kind of go through the different categories that I keep in here. So the first one that I keep is interest. And so with Edward Jones, they only allow you to buy CDs in $1,000 increments. And so most of my CDs don't make $1,000 in interest. And so whenever my CD matures, I typically will renew the CD at the base amount, and then anything I've earned in interest goes into this interest envelope. So in 2025, my goals were to fund my tax fund, which is my second envelope in here, and then to add to my car CD. I reset this tracker back in December. We had $3,600 in it at that time. I had 2 CDs that came up in December. Again, I budgeted those and stuffed those back in December if you want to go back and watch those. And then what I ended up doing was I had $4,300 in this account after that. So I pushed $3,000 over into the car CD. And then that left me with $1,362 in this interest. As the year goes on in 2026, we'll continue adding to this. And then we'll see at the end of the year in 2026 how much I can add to my car. And then if there's any left over. So the second envelope, like I said, is that federal taxes. So when you make interest on your CDs or on your savings accounts, you owe taxes. So my tax rate is 22%. So as my CDs are coming up, this was reset back in January 1st of 2025. So in 2025, every time I had a CD come up, I added my 22% from the CD into that. Last year, I ended up owing $2,000 for my taxes. Not all of it was because of my CDs and my money market. I don't know what was going on or why, but I ended up I had done $1,000 savings challenge last year, and I pushed 500 of that over into this account so I could have 2,000 just in case my taxes, and I owe 2,000 again this year. If I don't owe money this year, or if I break even or whatever's left over, we'll just sit in this and we'll continue pushing that 22% over as my CDs come up for renewal. So I will do budget with me's and CD stuffings throughout the year. And so stay tuned for those videos so you can see how I break down my CDs and utilize that extra income based on my interest. And then I have a couple of sinking funds in this money market as well. So for my emergency fund, I did the 100 envelope challenge a couple of years ago, and that's where I got the $5,000, and I pushed that $5,000 over into this account at that time, and I've luckily haven't had any major emergencies and have been able to keep that fully funded. The second sinking fund in here is my car fund. I had $2,000 left over when I purchased my car, and then we pushed that $3,000 over at the end of December from my interest. So it has $5,000, and typically I would have pushed this into a new CD. However, the rates in this account are higher than current CD rates at my local bank, at Edward Jones, and at Chase, were the three banks that I checked. And so I made the decision to put this $5,000 into this money market to yield as much interest as possible. And then if interest rates go up and it's higher than this account, I can very easily push that into a CD and have that as a CD. So we'll just keep an eye on rates and go from there. So the next thing I want to do is show you the difference in how much I'm personally earning in interest in a high yield money market versus a high yield savings. So right now we have $13,362 in this account. So if I have $13,362 and I have a 4.2% interest rate, that means I'm yielding $561 a year in interest just in this account. That doesn't include my CDs. That's just for this account. If I take that same $13,362 and I multiply it by the 6.1%, which is the high end on a high yield savings, typically the average is less than that. It's like less than 3.5. I'm only yielding $81.50. I'm making $480 more in this money market account than I would be making in high yield savings. Now, again, that $81 is at the high end for a high yield savings. And so if I only got half of that, which is the average is 0.36, then I could add back 40. So I'm making over $500 more a year in my money market account. $500 is a good chunk of change. And so you could do a lot with $500, and I'm not doing anything to earn that money except for keeping my money in a money market account. And that's one of the main reasons I prefer the money market account over the high yield savings. Hopefully that gives you a better idea on the difference between a high yield savings versus the money market, and then gives you some tools so you can calculate what's going to be in the best interest of you to help your money grow better for you. At the end of the day, the only person that can make financial decisions for you is you. And so just making sure you have all of the information that's out there and understanding the different kinds of accounts that are out there is incredibly important as you go along your financial journey. I'm continually learning new things. I want to get more into like investing and some of these like, I don't know, different types of accounts that yield even higher interest. It's more volatile, but I'm a little scared. So I want to do some more research before I jump into those type of accounts. But for now, I'm just going to keep my money market and my CDs and just keep growing it little by little throughout the years. I greatly appreciate you being here with me today. I enjoy doing these types of videos. Thank you to Unapologetic Reader for suggesting this video idea. I greatly appreciate that you took the time not only to watch my ideas, but also to respond to them and give me a really great video idea. So thank you so, so much. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your month and that your savings journey and or nail journey is going incredibly. Please leave me a like and comment down below and let me know what kind of videos you want to see from me in the future with these extra financial informational videos. But other than that, if you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!